Hello and welcome, Mac Gamers. I'm sure all of you have been involved in the hype surrounding the new game Helldivers 2. After all, it's popping up literally everywhere. It's impossible to go through YouTube nowadays without seeing it literally everywhere, going through your shorts without seeing shorts of it pop up or whatever. I mean, the game is just absolutely everywhere. It's completely popping off. And all of you Mac gamers, I'm sure just like me, are wondering, dang, this game looks epic. Can I play it? And unfortunately, the answer is, as of right now, no. This is mainly because Helldivers 2 has an anti-cheat called Game Guard, which is incredibly aggressive and stuff, and it just doesn't allow crossover versions of the game to launch, quite unfortunately. However, as unfortunate as this news is, there are still plenty of alternative games that are similar to Helldivers 2 that you can play on Mac. So this video is going to go over those games and show you how to play some of them if applicable. So first off, for probably the best Helldivers 2 alternative, I would have to recommend Deep Rock Galactic. Deep Rock Galactic is a cooperative 4-player like dwarf mining game sort of thing. So essentially you get dropped into these caves and you have to like go and do an objective, like collect resources, stuff like that. And at the same time, you have to like fight off all these like bugs that come in waves every now and then, and it really gives off some like Helldivers, like Starship Troopers sort of vibes. So, and yeah, you can play this with up to 4 players. It works immaculately on Mac. The only downside is it's not a Mac native game, so it's like actually a Windows native game. So the only way to run it is through either Crossover or Whiskey. Now, it runs immaculately, I'd say, on like lower settings. And again, it's complete, like full co-op. You can join up with Windows players, join up with whatever, and it just works. It's got out-of-the-box controller support, and I would say this is the closest thing you'll get to Helldivers 2 on Mac. And it is an amazing game by itself as well, so yeah. I'll do a full tutorial on Deep Rock Galactic in the future, as this is a really big game, but yeah. Next up, I would have to recommend Black Ops 3. Call of Duty Black Ops 3 is actually the only Call of Duty game that is supported on Mac OS right now that isn't for 32-bit only Macs. So Black Ops 3, the main part of it that is the most similar to Helldivers, I would say, is the Zombies mode, which also the Zombies mode from Black Ops 3 is known to be the best Zombies mode. Well, it depends on who you ask, but throughout the franchise, most people consider that Black Ops 3 is the best Zombies mode. So, essentially what you do in this Zombies mode is you sort of like spawn into a house or fort or whatever, just like these different maps and stuff. And you have to like defend the area from these waves of oncoming zombies. And yeah, this is pretty similar to Helldivers 2 with the, just like base defense sort of elements and whatnot. And yeah, as you can see from the gameplay, this sort of gives you a general gist of it and stuff. It runs, immaculately on my baseline M1 Mac. It runs really good. There's a few cons, though, you need to consider before picking this up. Number one, it is 150 gigabytes, I believe, which is absolutely insane. To save storage, you can delete like the multiplayer files and stuff like that. But yeah. The next con is it actually doesn't have any multiplayer support whatsoever. So essentially, just like Borderlands 2, this game was ported by Asper, which was, back in the day, like a really solid Mac porter. They ported all sorts of amazing Mac games, like, Borderlands 2, Hitman, stuff like that. Like, chances are most of the Mac ports from a bit ago were ported by Asper because they were just that good. And the thing is, though, they didn't really update this Mac port. It's still on version 1.0. They just made a Mac port and then didn't touch it. So, unfortunately, it has, as of right now at least, it has no multiplayer whatsoever. You can't play this with friends. I don't even think you could play with other people on Mac from what I've seen. Like, there's just absolutely no multiplayer, quite unfortunately. And for the third con, there is no custom zombies maps, no, like, DLC or, no, I'm sorry, no, and, like, no mod support or whatever. So that is also a big downside for some people because it sounds like the custom zombies maps and stuff are a pretty big feature from, just seeing posts in the community and stuff like that. So if any of those 3 are major turnoff, then don't get it. Also, it is $60, but it goes on sale for $20 pretty regularly. So I would highly recommend, highly recommend you pick it up on sale because $60 is a stupid amount of money to pay for like a almost 10-year-old game at this point. Next, we have Mountain Blade Warband. Now, for Mountain Blade Warband, the main game mode and stuff isn't actually where the Helldivers sort of experience is going to be. Where you're going to find that is actually in the multiplayer servers. So there are multiple community-run servers that are in for like the base Mountain Blade, and also for the DLC Napoleonic Wars and Viking Warfare, or whatever, Viking Conquest, sorry. And all of these, they have like a server up by, in the community called like Bot Survival or something. And that essentially has a sort of similar thing to like Call of Duty Black Ops, where you're like in a castle or any other community map, just something like that, and you're fighting off all these waves of bots and stuff with either like muskets or whatever, swords and stuff, and bows, depending on what DLC or mode you're using. So if you want like a medieval themed sort of zombies mode thing, or a more like colonial, I guess, old style, like with muskets and whatever style thing, or Viking style zombie survival or whatever, anything like that, you can get that with this game and its DLC. Yeah, also this game is amazing by itself as well. I'm definitely going to do another video on it in the future. I think I'm going to do a video on all these in the future, just because of how much of an amazing game each one of them is. But yeah, in terms of cons, there really isn't any cons. In terms of pros, it's got full multiplayer support, full crossplay, all that good stuff, and full modding support, so you can get all the big community overhaul mods and quality of life stuff. Finally, we have the first two of the World War I series games, Verdun and Tannenberg. Both of these games have a sort of bot survival mode, I guess one could say, where you would add a squad of, up to 4 people, well, 4 total, you and 3 other, like, friends or whatever, can go up and survive wave after wave of, like, German or British or whatever, just like World War II, or World War I, I'm sorry, World War I bots, and it's actually really fun. It's like a sort of last stand sort of thing, and just seeing how long you can hold out, sort of like COD Zombies, except more difficult, because they have guns and just shooting at you and stuff. I actually find it really fun. It's pretty intense, but just really neat, really tactical. You can like coordinate with your squad and stuff. Now for some cons. I mean, to be honest, there really isn't any con. I mean, it has full multiplayer support, with like Windows and everything, full crossplay. It's up to date. I mean, aside from like not that great Mac optimization, like it's not running Apple Silicon native, I really cannot think of any downsides. Both of these games actually go on for like sale absolutely frequently, like I don't know, like every few months, and then normally it's $30, I believe, but it goes down to like sometimes $5 or $6. Like it gets really, really cheap. So I'd highly recommend picking up both Verdun and Tannenberg if you want a Helldivers 2 sort of survival experience, or if you just want like a really, really fun World War I game. I'm definitely going to do separate videos on each of those in the future, because they're very solid World War I games. So if there's any World War I enthusiasts out there, I would highly recommend these games. They're amazing. Along with Isanzo as well, if you just want like a World War I game. Thank you guys all so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.